This is actually the second take. During the first take, my phone ran out of storage, so I had to fix that. And then I went to put it back on the thing that was holding my phone, and then that broke, which it was already kind of breaking. So now I got it sitting on a freaking mason jar. Whatever. I'm going to try to say this again. Being a person in this world who sees reality and society for what it really is and has become is extremely isolating. It's what they say, like coming out of the matrix, if you will. And the problem with that is it's hard to really enjoy a whole lot of anything, or honestly take a lot of people seriously for that matter. I work with a lot of older people and a lot of immigrants. And with the older people, they have pretty much had a lot of time to establish themselves and be in a place where they're pretty much comfortable now. And talking to these people, you realize that they had it so good and so easy when they were growing up because they don't know anything about what's going on, and they essentially just know what the news tells them that they're supposed to believe. Because in their time, they really didn't have to worry about societal collapse, demographic change, insane inflation, terrible dating prospects, freaking all this like corporatism and just all this stuff that stops current generations from thriving. And when I go to mention certain things to people, like they don't even know what the difference between a governor and a mayor is. You know, a lot of these people's personalities are no deeper than what football team they like, what TV show they watch that day, and something about some shitty music that they listen to. And with the immigrants, they got to come here again, back in a time when we were so much more prosperous as a society, and we didn't already have like 100 million of them here. And they just got to pull up and reap the rewards along with the boomers and really not even have to learn English for a lot of them. And they actually got the American dream. Now, you could say a lot of them still had to work hard for it and get jobs and do the right thing, which, fine. But at the same time, they were able to get pushed along because they're this special privileged immigrant class who is willing to work for less. And as a young man who was born here and has had to work my way to where I am, it's like I'm working for scraps. And they don't understand that, the immigrants or the boomers. And I see these people walk around and talk like nothing in life is really just that bad. You know, they'll complain about what everyone else does, you know, oh, gas is too much and groceries and whatever, but otherwise, like, everyone around still feels like they think everything is just like sunshine and rainbows. And it's easy when they have coping mechanisms, when they have their wives and they have their families, because most of these people do have wives and families that keep them sequestered from what is really actually going on. A lot of these people haven't been just straight up alone in a time where being completely alone is the hardest thing that anybody can really do right now in this economy and in this current society. And so it feels isolating, and I actually feel more alone and lonely when I'm around all of these people, because I'm constantly so deep in my head about every minute of my life, because everything is so difficult. One simple mistake can ruin me. Just one time missing rent or something is like the end. And it's just easier when I'm around people to just joke, make jokes, and talk shit, because there's no real conversations to be had with these people. The moment that you start bringing up anything that is significant and real about life, it pretty much just like sucks the air out of the room, and everyone looks at you like you have some freaking growth on your face, and it's just like you got to immediately just change the subject. And it's just so frustrating and annoying and honestly just boring. Like it's just so superficial. Everyone is faking it, and they're totally fine with that. And I can't unsee anything anymore. Everywhere I go, the average age of people is like 50. The average person around me is not even from here, barely speaks English. And if they do, you barely can understand them. And the people that are younger, they're still living at home, because that's what we have to do now. Because, like I said, living on your own is extremely difficult, and I can't believe I'm even doing it myself. But these young people still get to live at home with their parents and save into their 20s now. And they really haven't been hit over the head with how life really operates out here when you're by yourself, and when you start kind of seeing why things are as hard as they are. Because when you're in this position, you really am like, I need to figure out why the hell this is so difficult, and why can't I just get forward in a normal manner. I mean, decades ago, the amount of money that I make now, I would have 2 houses like 20, 30 years ago. Now, I'm in a tiny little box apartment, barely getting by. And I see all this, and I have to deal with all of this. And the only people I'm ever around is all these boomers at work and all these teenagers and young 20s who are still living at home in their own ignorance, in their own blissful ignorance. Just like the old boomers and the immigrants, they get blissful ignorance because the immigrants have 1,000 kids. They got gigantic families, and the tax breaks they get are probably insane. Who knows what kind of benefits or whatever they get for being immigrants. The boomers, they have their wives, they have their houses and their cars and their salaries, and they're fine. You know, dual incomes, and, you know, so they don't have to think about really the nitty gritty. They don't have to care about really voting properly. They don't have to care about really anything but, hey, I'm comfortable in my life and I'm happy, and I got to work and set my life up in the most prosperous time in America, and it's all paid off now. I get to see the fruits of my labor. Meanwhile, I'm like, what am I doing all of this for? What is really the end goal here? I don't even have an idea of owning a house. Like, owning really anything just seems so unattainable. Everything seems so unattainable now. And I'm making more money than probably my parents were at my age. Not even probably, 100% making more money than my parents were to live a worse life than they lived when they were younger. So I'm just kind of ranting and raving because it's been on my mind. And I wish I could really sit and talk to people. I wish I could really interview my coworkers and stuff. I want to know what other people's lives are like. I really do, because to me, from the outside looking in, everyone just seems like they're just going with the motions. They're like, well, this is just how life is. This is how it's supposed to be. So, I'm just going to go have a bunch of sex and, do a bunch of drugs and not save any money and, blow my money. I see all these young men at work gambling, man, blowing their money, gambling, because they still live at home. They got all this excess money. I'm just going to... Watching people throwing their lives away with gambling. Watching people at work throw their lives away drinking and doing drugs. And one other thing I really been wanting to mention is the worst people get the best treatment. The worst people get away with murder. We have people at work that are so horrible, and it's just like the bosses complain. Oh, he's so bad, and everybody complains about this person, but it's like, well, there's nothing I can do. Who am I supposed to hire? Meanwhile, I'm like, we have all these bussers and young kids out here who you could just hire, and they'll do 10 times better. But what do I know? Simple solutions, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I say this and I tell them, and it's just like one ear and out the other. So I guess the whole point of this video is just to say, like, once you see, you really can't unsee, and it makes you feel so alone. It is such a bittersweet situation. And I'd take a lobotomy, bro. I'll take a whole brain reset if I could just be like these people who are just ignorant to it all, who know nothing what's going on, and who just don't know why anything is happening. I wish I could have that, so I could just skate through and not give a damn either. But I don't know. That's just too late for me. So, another one. Thank you for watching.
Like, subscribe, leave a comment if you made it this far. If you made it this far, wow.
Thank you.